Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. Let's take a brand new look at our starting rotation after the addition of Edward Cabrera. And this is kind of feels like a move that's going to supersede another move following, right? Something bigger has to be at play. We're going to discuss that. I'm going to rank the remaining bats that I want for the Cubs, and then I'm going to give you guys which ones will most likely sign after that. We got a couple news and notes as well. The Cubs did avoid arbitration and agree to a deal with Edward Cabrera and Justin Steele. So both of them are back, obviously, for the 2026 season. So before we get into all that, I just want to give everyone a big thank you again for the continued support on our road to 1,000. We are getting closer and closer by day. So if you guys are enjoying that content, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more. So let's take a brand new look at the rotation. Now, this is just kind of basically what I've heard from, people, etc., the way they talk about the Cubs and its rotation as it sits. I don't think this is going to be the final rotation once the 2026 season is over, but let's take a little look here. The new rotation projection. Now, obviously, we're missing names like Justin Steele. He's going to come back from injury. They say potentially early May, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. We also, Colin Ray is going to get to be his long reliever role. Javier Saad can pitch as well. Ben Brown has found certain games of success at the major league level. This pitching staff runs deep, ladies and gentlemen. And, when they talk about Edward Cabrera and, like the potential injuries that are there, yes, those are all very realistic things, but the Cubs feel like their pitching depth allows them to take on this risk potentially, because if the pitching lab is what they say, and I was listening to an interview with David Kaplan, he was talking to one of his guys down in Miami. The guy from Miami who works with the Marlins said the Cubs pitch lab is very real. We don't have those, those tools and that system down here in place. So like I said, if the Cubs can figure out how to slot his arm, how to restrain, get less strain on that arm, they could be in business, and they could have potentially found their future ace of this staff if he can harness his stuff. A lot of things started to work out last year, but that was his first regular season of somewhat moderate success, so it's going to be very curious to see how it looks. But let's take a look at that rotation one more time. The way Matthew Boyd pitched for us last year, I'm not sure if he's going to get the opening day not at Wrigley, but you got to see him on the bump. You got to see how he bounces back. Cade Horton, number 2. I have Edward Cabrera slotted number 3, but I think by season's end, he could easily be the number 2. And if he really, really balls out, he could be the number 1 of the staff. And then we're rounding out with Jameson Taillon and Shota Imanaga. And, Shota Imanaga has a really, really good potential to, kind of get back to that 2024 form that we saw a couple years ago. And I'm willing to say that because if he's truly our 5th starter and he's matching up against other 5s, he should be able to take advantage of those matchups, and he should be able to get his confidence back. So again, this rotation is deep. It can be tough. We just added some good velo there as well. This is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. The Cubs are excellent at that, and that kind of does lead into my next question is, what is next? Like, this offseason cannot be done. Yes, you went out and got the starting pitcher. Technically, Jed has done what he said he was going to do. Pitching. And he has done just that, right? He's added to his bullpen. We are able to get a trade for Edward Cabrera. We're going to miss Owen Casey, but sometimes you got to give to get. And like in this situation, we needed Ed Cabrera more than we needed Owen Casey because I feel like Jed has a path for finding ways to replace Casey, right? And, there's still 4 big, healthy bats out there, ladies and gentlemen. And this is kind of where the Cubs could, put a bow on this offseason. I'm not sure if it's going to be an A+ grade, but definitely going to be a B+ grade if they could sign one of these top 4 bats that I'm about to mention. But more to the point is since the Cubs were able to trade for such a controlled cost pitcher, it kept this money on the books. And again, right, history has shown the Cubs do not spend, but also history has shown that when the Cubs feel like the time is right to strike, they do that, and we have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that front. Now, maybe they don't like one of these 4 players as much as, any other team, and the Cubs won't be greedy and they won't go after that. But given the given the fact that we have so many starting pitchers, we still got Kevin Alcantara, Jefferson Rojas, Jackson Wiggins. Not that we need to trade these guys, but we have leverage in trades where we can maybe go get that bat that we truly, truly need. So, curious to see what that is, but I feel like we have to be adding a bat. There's no way the Cubs with a straight face can want to go into spring training with the roster as it sits. Our outfield depth is thin. I'm not sure how much they want Seiya Suzuki playing in right field. Maybe Kevin Alcantara is just a secret undercover guy that we just do not know enough about because we haven't seen the reps from him. But could he be the starting right fielder of the future? It's very, very possible. That door is now open for him with the trading of Owen Casey. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to rank you guys the bats that I want for the Cubs, okay? These are the guys that I want from 1 to 4. 1 being, oh my gosh, this is an absolute slam dunk of a hit, to 4 being, okay, I'm not completely upset. I'm not as excited as maybe some of the other names would be. But, yeah. So let's just take a look at that list really quick. So, on my list here, ladies and gentlemen, number 1 for me is Bo Bichette. I think Bo Bichette signing him to a multi-year deal would absolutely help this club in a tremendous amount of ways, right? Provide him a little flexibility. Give him that star on offense that this offense desperately needs. He's a contact hitter. I like right-handed hitters at Wrigley Field. To me, it feels like they profile a little bit better. A lot of our great hitters in our team's history has been from the right-handed side. So, again, Bo Bichette, average contact hitter. Yeah, he doesn't hit 35 home runs, but he's a big-time player, and big-time players make big-time plays, and I want him on this team. I love his moxie. I love his approach at the plate. Yes, he leaves a little bit desire to be defensively. I think that stuff can get figured out here in Chicago. Number 2 is going to be Kyle Tucker. I think he should run it back. I don't think he got the best shake. Obviously, there's a lot of numbers that he struggled with at Wrigley Field. He did not hit well, had a very low OPS, only drove in 37 runs. It was not an impressive Kyle Tucker season by any means, but I don't think that's who he is as a player. What we got those first 2 months from him, that's who he is as a player. And unfortunately, he just wasn't able to stay healthy for the whole season. Now, again, that doesn't happen all too often, but the offense just went anemic that second half. It was kind of weird. It was definitely a tale of two halves, no doubt about it, but just weird how far on the spectrum they went offensively high and offensively low. I think of Kyle Tucker, if we implemented Kyle Tucker back in this lineup, him being that presence again, this offense would roll. This offense would be special once again, in my opinion. Now 3rd and 4, personally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not that excited about. I think Cody Bellinger is a good baseball player. I do not doubt that. I don't know how much he elevates others. I don't know how much fear, additionally, he strikes into the opponent as much as a Bo Bichette or a Kyle Tucker. Obviously, I think Cody Bellinger had a good time here as a Cub. I think he liked being a Cub. I just don't know if he's necessarily the fit for us anymore. But, again, he's a really good player. Good contact hitter, which, again, that might be what this team needs more of. Good, more solid contact. Since we kind of got the power covered with Bush, potentially PCA, and Seiya Suzuki. Maybe Cody Bellinger could provide that consistent approach at the plate. And then you got Alex Bregman. The Cubs have been linked to him for a long time now. But, again, it's funny. They're talking about it earlier today. Earlier yesterday, Cody Bellinger and Alex Bregman are kind of looking for that final long-term deal. They're kind of looking for a home to settle into. They want that 5, 6, 7-year deal. Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, this is their first real crack at free agency, so there might be a propensity for them to be a little more open to the short-term deal to kind of re-up and negotiate afterwards. So it's a very, very interesting perspective there. So if that's truly the case, Bo Bichette and Kyle Tucker should be at the top of the Cubs' radars list, right? Those two should be at the top. Get them on a short-term deal. That's what we look for, right? Let's get this 2026 season done with, and let's go win a title if we can sign one of those two. It's going to be tough, no doubt about it, but so those are the bats that I want, right? Bregman, least exciting. Bo Bichette, really exciting. Here are my odds. Again, I don't think the Cubs are signing all of them. I think they're only going to sign one. But if they are going to sign one, the one I'm going to go with is here. I think the number one kind of candidate is Cody Bellinger. Obviously, there's a previous relationship there. We do need help in right field as it sits right now. Left-handed batter kind of brings a little bit more balance to the lineup. Could really, really cause some problems for other opposing pitchers and such. Doesn't have the same power like he probably would at Yankee Stadium, but still, Cody Bellinger's an excellent baseball player. I know he's going to hit 275, 280, and he's going to be in. He's just a good baseball player, and you can't not want him on your team. That is the one player I see the Cubs definitely like leaning more towards. Number 2 would be Bo Bichette. I think Bo Bichette has the potential to be that franchise star that you could take into this new generation with the new CBA and all the other outlying factors. Contact hitter. He had 311 last year. He's always going to be up there in the league leaders of hits if he's healthy. Number 3, Alex Bregman. I don't think the Cubs really want to sign him to a long-term deal, but Alex Bregman, his name's been connected to the Cubs all the time, all offseason, so he would be number 3 on this. And number 4 is Kyle Tucker. I have not heard a peep from anybody about Kyle Tucker. It seems like the Blue Jays are interested. The Dodgers are interested if they can get him on a short-term deal, but I have not heard one bleeping connection to the Cubs to Kyle Tucker, and for whatever reason, in my gut, in my feeling, the closer and closer we get to spring training and these guys reporting, the more and more inkling I get that Kyle Tucker might come back to the Cubs on like a 2-year, $100 million deal with an opt-out after this next season. I mean, maybe just like we already thought we were getting an inspired Kyle Tucker, right? If he was to, come back, when we traded for him originally and he came back, had a big year, and, he can go get that $400 million contract. Well, maybe if he comes back again and just shows the world who he is, maybe, just maybe, he'll want to opt out and go get that contract, actually. But maybe the Cubs can pull something really, really special off in the meantime and take advantage of that as well. So let me know your guys and gals' thoughts in the comments below. I do want to let you know, I know it's viewer comment Friday, but unfortunately, I tried to go to the Bulls game tonight, and it was just a disaster. It's been a disastrous day, so I'm going to resume viewer. Here's what's going to happen, okay? I'm going to do viewer comment on Monday, but if any breaking news happens over the weekend, emergency show, I'll do the viewer comments then as well. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Subscribe. We're on the road to 1K, and we are almost there. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic weekend. We'll see you soon.